So George.
So
Unfortunately, I've forgotten my earplugs and my earmuffs, so I'm just going to have to
live with the screamer.
Live with the Barra drone. So in order to get a bit more traction, we are fitting a harrop true track.
Yes.
In the factory ratio.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got the factory 308 diff gears. We've got the harrop true track. But yeah, it'd be good to have both wheels spinning rather than torque steering like a front wheel drive car.
So there's a few little niggling things you were saying.
Yeah, I need to, just little exhaust rattles, and I've probably gone a little bit too low with the springs. So when there's weight in the car, it's probably, the tyres are rubbing a little bit. So because we're making the adjustable bottom arms, I'll be able to reset the height of the springs and the rear end. So, and plus we're getting some coilovers for the front, so we'll be able to adjust the ride height to a much more user-friendly. So a good mate of mine, Reese, owns Diffco in Frankston, not too far from us. He does all of our diff stuff anyway, so when it came time to wanting to do ours, I thought, hey, no, who's better than someone you know, I guess.
So yeah, you've been racking up a few Ks on this, haven't you?
Yeah, man, I drove it as a daily, not last week, the week before, where we had those like 3, 4, 30-degree days, yeah. Like high 20s, early 30s. I drove it every day from Monday to Saturday through the heat and through roadworks and traffic, and not one problem. Yeah. The car has been faultless. It's almost like a stock car.
Well, it pretty much is, but
yeah, it is.
We went for a little drive before, and it goes a lot better than the same setup in a XR6. I can tell you that.
Oh, I would assume. Yeah, you'd assume so. The lack of weight helps the situation.
Fair weight advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, while the boys are doing this, do you want to show me what stuff you're bringing in nowadays? What you're stocking? Because you got some good shit, yeah.
We'll try. Generally keeping all the harrop products and Eaton products on the shelf.
Yeah.
Got our new housing ends to suit all your Falcon applications, where they prevent the inner race from spinning and tearing out, which is quite common. Got them also for Commodore,
Holden, isn't
yeah,
it?
Commodore,
yep.
Kingswood,
yep.
And Gemini. And also we're now
you've got a heap of Moser axles though.
Yeah, we just started bringing in direct from Moser, the new direct fit axles to suit pretty much all your Falcon ute applications from BA to FG.
Oh, nice.
And we're going to start doing FGX, which run a 3-inch wide bearing a bit later on.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah, so
how often do you bring those in?
Every week.
Cool.
Yeah, every week.
Yeah,
so
cool.
This is what we just got this morning.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of flight time and production.
Yeah, cool.
I can only sort of do so many at a time. We're getting them air freighted every single week.
Awesome.
Yeah, so turnaround's pretty quick. So always using the ARP stud line kit or screw in studs, whether they want screw in or press in style. Yeah.
And you do conversions as well too, yeah?
Yeah.
What's that one there? That's out of a Commodore too, isn't it?
Yeah, that one's actually come back to get shortened further again from the customer. It's just the 35 spline VL turbo rear end. Yeah, he just wanted to go an extra 30 mil from his last conversion. Did that about 4 years ago.
That's a strange nodular line.
Yeah, now he's just gone from running stockies to
nice.
An aftermarket wheel.
Yeah, beautiful. Reese, tell me now, this being obviously was an open diff.
Yes.
Why should we then go to a true track versus an LSD?
That's a very good question, George.
It is a great question.
I'm glad to answer your question.
I've thought about that.
Well, basically, there's the torque bias LSD center that's going to reduce wheel slip in any sort of racing. That's pretty important. But also the drivability of an open center under low power, and the benefits of a spool or up to a spool when under wide open throttle or in that cornering, that sort of thing. So in layman's terms, just the best of all the worlds, but quiet operation and no gear wear, no clutch wear. There's no clutches.
Yeah. It's all sort of gear based, isn't it? It's all worm drive.
Yeah. And made in Australia.
Beautiful. Harrop obviously do a great product. You know what I've always wanted to know though? In an open diff, under high power, are both wheels being driven out of the center? I was talking about it with a mate the other day and just came up in conversation. Do both drive, or is one driving and the other one's rolling?
Well, you're not differentiating it, are you? So you're not using the carrier.
Okay, so they're both turning, you reckon?
Yeah, they have to.
Right.
Well, differential means taking the same, well, more distance, less effort, but you're able to turn the same arc, one wheel turning quicker than the other. That's where you differentiate.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, awesome.
So back in the early days, they only used to drive one wheel permanently and the other one was lazy.
Right.
You go in the sand or anywhere
You're cooked.
that you require, yeah. Four-wheel drive, you're knackered. Anywho.
All right, so we're going to bang some Timken bearings on it too. They're obviously a decent quality bearing.
Yeah,
that you use on all of them.
Yeah, well, Henry Timken was the first person to utilise the tapered needle roller, which is what we use in pretty much all vehicles today. They phased out ball bearings in the 70s, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think what we'll do now, or what the boys are going to do now, is obviously take the gear set, because we're going to keep the gears, we're not changing the gear ratio. We'll put it onto the true track, bang the new bearings in.
Why would you do that by hand? Left hand thread, righty loosey, lefty tighty.
Bang up.
We'll give this a quick wash.
Ah, look at Chico, mate.
This is where we get the kerosene bath out. Not really. We've got money here at Diffco. We use a spin wash.
So George, we've just got the car back from the guys at Diffco. Now I believe you've been in touch with Chris and Tim from Shockworks.
Yeah.
Who are going to help us set the car up a bit better for some more traction.
Yes, well, as much as we concentrate on the rear end, we also need to spend some time on the front end too. And like we said, we didn't want to push the car engine-wise as hard. We wanted to spend some more...
Get the car to work
at
this
power
level.
Yeah, correct.
And then we'll turn it up.
So we got in touch with the guys, Chris and Tim at Shockworks, and they were doing at the time, they were just finishing off a bit of a strut, coilover strut for the Commodores. Mm-hmm. So they need some data. We wouldn't mind some shocks. So we thought, let's work together and get something going. So we'll get Chris in today to help us fit them. At the same time, while we are there, we did say we did want to obviously get the car to stop as well. So a brake upgrade.
We've got some
old
old style brakes on, so we've got some Bendix Ultimate pads and rotors. We're going to bang them on.
Yeah, for sure.
Chris is on his way down, so let's get the car up.
Let's get the car up, get everything off, and wait for Chris to roll up, and then we'll can't wait to see these shocks, man. They're going to be pretty cool. Chris has just come in with these beautiful little shocks. These look really, really nice, dude. Done a cracker job on these. Now, the beauty with this in general was you telling me that these are purely specific for the Commodore platform, is that correct?
Yeah, so we've designed them specifically for these from sort of VS to VZ with different valve codes in between for each of the weights and variants. But this design is specifically tuned around Monbolk and the hills and for race and street driving. And now from here, that's why we're working with you guys to get a baseline for
the drag side.
Getting it really fast out of the hole.
Yeah,
so that's
cool.
That's where the next step is for us.
And you're saying something pretty special about this top mount,
Yeah, so we actually 3D scanned the factory Commodore strut tower. So we've made, one of my biggest dislikes of the Commodore is that factory top mount. We've had customers where the rubber is just too soft and it flogs out very quickly. We've gone to this spherical bearing top mount where this is all interference fit, where it locks in to the point where once you actually remove the cap afterwards, you have to tap it out. This doesn't make noise. As far as MVH or harshness goes, it doesn't increase it by any great stretch. And it removes about 20 mil of where you normally have damping control, where the bush deflection is. So overall, it's just a massive improvement to front end response.
And what adjustment, obviously height-wise, we get?
Yep, so we can set from the extension travel here, we have the access to that via the base. We can then have different lengths of springs and preload the springs, so we can set where we're sitting in the range of travel. So depending on whether you are on the strip or on the street, you kind of have that. And then being that it's an inverted monotube strut, we have the adjustment down at the bottom here, where we have 12 steps of damping force adjustment there.
Cool. That's what, that's what I want to know,
This really controls the response of the damper. Cool. So we can have it so whether you want the front to be shooting up in the sky or gluing it down so it's locked in depending on what you're doing. But definitely we have different valving for different tyres, so that's more what I want to push towards rather than just relying on a clicker adjuster style setup.
And now before we put this in today, you wanted to do some measurements and suss some stuff out, is that correct?
So just as a bit of a way to make things a bit quicker, we'll just measure the factory droop of this, and that way we can measure off the base of this strut, and it just saves a bunch of time. Just means that you don't have to go up and down on the car and set the heights a million times. We can lock in what base height we want, how much extension travel we have, and then from there adjust the spring preload to get it sitting exactly where we need it to.
Cool.
So,
all right, well, let's get our hands dirty.
Excellent.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Let's go.
So George, you've just done some suspension kettlebells down the road for us, and try to get a little bit of data comparing the two shocks.
Yes,
what do we
mate.
find here?
Well, I thought I'd do the nice thing and weigh them for you to to find the difference. Had to bloody walk these things, I don't know, a couple hundred metres down to my mate's shop who's got some shipping scales. Now, interesting in the comparison, right? And this is per strut. So this unit on its own weighs 11.05, I think the number was, somewhere there. So 11 kilos.
Yep.
Right. What would you think yours weighs?
Given that 7 kilos.
6.35. Yeah. So almost half the weight. That's unreal. That's actually.
So that's 5 kilos a corner. So you're looking at about 20 kilos overall.
Yeah, that's unreal.
If you had struts all around.
Yeah, struts all around. Yeah, that's unreal. But I carrying them, I didn't expect that much of a difference, I guess. But
and I mean,
this is the way I was carrying
when we manufacture these, I think it's worth noting we try and still make these as a heavy duty item. So we don't make them with saving every kilo in mind. Like we reinforce and gusset this with steel.
Yep.
This is an inverted strut, so I mean it's not the lightest unit that we could potentially make as far as aluminium bodies, but we want to make them. Yeah, the whole point is to make these as strong, and just because overall we have less material, there you go. We saved 5 kilos.
Yeah. Did you want to do anything adjustment-wise or height-wise before we put it in?
Yep. So we've got a base measurement of the final extension travel on the wheel. So now we can measure the full extended height from the top mount to this hole, and we can measure this one to this. And through doing a little bit of basic subtraction maths, we can work out where we want to set the bases. So we pretty much just need to set the preload from there to get our right heights.
I'll let you do your thing, man.
Excellent.
All right, buddy.
Sounds good.
Now, George.
Oh, now, George. We're changing it up, are we? Come on, mate. Hey, stick to it.
While you're off doing those bicep curls with those Shockworks struts, I've just happened to just arrange this beautiful selection of Bendix brakes, which we're going to put on the old Mr. NOMANG.
Price is right, style. Look at it. There's a drop in the
Ultimate discs, ultimate pads. We're going to bang these on.
Bang them on, because they're banger.
Bendix make these for a bunch of cars, so jump on their website and see if they make them for yours.
VT upgrade for us, mind you. So
sorry, I should have mentioned that.
Yeah, we're doing a VT brake upgrade. So we need the discs and the pads plus the calipers. Which we've got.
But very straightforward upgrade on a VS. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, pretty simple.
Easy done. We'll bang them on and we'll get a bunch more stopping power. So George, here we can see the standard VS setup on the right and the VT upgrade on the left. Now obviously the discs, well, they look a bit nicer. But the real difference really isn't the pad, isn't it?
Yeah, the disc area, pad area on the disc, obviously, so which helps heaps, and you can obviously see the noticeable difference that way. Yeah. So we're getting a lot more stopping power with these bad boys because obviously there's more contact patch, I guess.
You know, for Commodore owners, this is a very cost-effective upgrade.
It's probably one of the cheapest upgrades you'll be able to do.
You also got some lines, didn't you?
Now these are pretty cool lines because they're ADR approved, I guess, being braided. They're braided underneath that. I've got to say a big thank you to Marcus from MSC and in Moorabbin. Last minute, as always, I like to leave things till the last minute. And he made them for us with a very quick phone call yesterday and picked them up this morning. So very, very big thank you to Marcus for doing that. So we'll bang them on as well. So yeah, with a good disc, VT front calipers, and braided brake line, brake fade on a early model Commodore is a thing of the past, really.
So yeah, ultimate stopping power really at a cheap price.
Well, I mean, when you hear that screamer pipe, you're going to want to hit the brakes pretty hard.
I'd rather hear the screamer pipe than the brake screaming to stop.
All right. Well, as you said, these are banger.
They are banger, so let's
we'll
bang
get them on.
Let's go.
Hey, George, you know what I like about these?
Tell me.
They're actually painted black. Do you know how many discs you buy?
And they're just raw.
And they just look rusty.
Yeah.
Get a bit of water on them, they just look awful. But Bendix have done a nice job here.
Yeah, they have done a nice job.
You're getting all fancy there, George.
Yeah, I ordered them ages ago, actually. I was going to do the brake upgrade a while ago, but they just locate they're just a little ring which locates because the bore difference is like a couple of mil off, or a mil off or something. It's very minute. So I've got these hub rings.
0 run out on the disc.
Yep, that's it.
How's that? How's that? Special.
Beautiful.
It should be better than factory. Not bad. So what do you think? Yeah? Noticeably?
No, fantastic. Like
Yeah.
so smooth, man. Even under power, feels good.
Yeah.
Finally, George.
So George.
I've had enough of the So George's. Right?
Come on, man. All right, let's go.
The old Mr. NOMANG. Hey,
Mr. NOMANG, yes.
she's ready to rock and roll.
You know what? She's yeah.
Next episode, we're hitting the track.
We are.
Well,
that's
hopefully.
Wow.
It's a little bit hard in Victoria.
Yeah, but I think with my percentages again,
Yep.
98% certain.
Well, the car's ready to go.
The
now,
car's
isn't
ready to go, dude. Literally, we'll probably, like we discussed, maybe raise the rear end a little bit. It's probably a bit too low for drag racing. I think I overdone it with the Thomas Down height adjustment. So we'll probably bring it back up again.
Yeah.
Get that instant center
Yep.
where we want it, and a bit better for that launch that we want at the track. It's no powerhouse as such, but we're just setting it up, you know. So
There's no point, like we've said a million times, power's one thing. You've got to get the thing to work.
yeah, and that's what we're trying to do.
And if it can't work with moderate power, it's not going
It's not going to work with big power, correct? Yeah. So, so I'll probably just get it up a little bit in the rear just before we race it, probably the next few days, and then next episode we should be hitting the time boards, man.
All things, you know, we should be. Yeah, we might finally see a number out of this thing.
Yeah, finally. Well, it's been a blessing that, you know, in Victoria we've been able to move forward in being able to race.
Yeah, I know.
So it's been good timing too. So that's why we've probably done a little bit extra to the car as well, because we've had that time to do so.
Anyway, we've had a little bit of help with this episode.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, big thanks to Harrop, Diffco, Shockworks, and Bendix.
And Martini as well for some awesome brake fluid they gave us too. So great bunch of local companies, Australian-made stuff going into the car, and big thank you to those guys, because I think for this episode the car's come a long way.
It has, yeah.
In being ready for what we want it to do.
Yeah, and obviously you can't see this from watching it, but the car drives
unreal.
fantastic now.
Oh, the difference in these shocks and steering and the control, it's unreal.
The True Track,
True
everything.
Track as well with it, mate. It's just the car.
Brakes,
Yeah,
banger. We've got brand new brakes on.
Brakes, steering, shocks, diff.
Yeah.
The car just steers and drives like a brand new car. It's got the dash to suit it.
Yeah.
The cluster to suit it.
To be honest, I thought it, it's quite smooth.
It is smooth.
For a 25-year-old car,
It's just apart from the noise being a little bit too noisy, everything else is unreal. Like the shocks on that steering now, unbelievable, man. Like that top mount that he's got there on this, man, it's made the world of a difference. And on a manual rack car, it wasn't that bad to begin with because of the front runners, but now with that smoothness in that, oh man, I'm a lot happier driving this car because I do drive it daily as well, so it does help, yeah. So obviously next episode, we're racing. Here we go.
Until then,
No,
man. I really don't like that anymore.
I love it, dude.
Hey Tim, Chris got a ride in the old NOMANG and you didn't.
Poor Tim.